Hello all and welcome to On the Scene with Deen. In today's episode, I'll be exploring two of the Bay Area's most iconic privately owned restaurants. We'll start off in San Francisco in the heart of the Bay Area and visit the venerable Probaco and its owner Umberto Gibin. Then we'll travel 50 miles south to East San Jose's classic steakhouse and sports bar, The Drawing Shed, run consistently by the Ramsey family for the last 40 years. Now, you may ask yourself, who am I and why should I care? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Deen the cocktail making machine, and I've been in the hospitality business, specifically as a bartender, for the last 25 years here in the Bay Area. In this series, I hope to spotlight some of the gems sometimes overlooked in our respective communities. These are privately owned and often daily run businesses that have stood the test of time, and in my book, they are certainly worth your time. Welcome to On the Scene with Deen. I'm your host, Deen the cocktail making machine. Hello and welcome to On the Scene with Deen. I'm your host, Deen the Cocktail Making Machine, and we are live at San Francisco's Probaco. Today I'd like to explore the notion known in Italian as soprattutto rispetto, which literally translates to, above all, respect. I believe this notion is something that the owner of the venerable Probaco takes quite literally and dear to his heart. Today we're going to explore the cuisine and the history of this unique restaurant. Come on, follow me. You're live on the Scene with Deen.
My name is Umberto Gibin. I am the proprietor of Probaco.
How are you today?
Great, Dean. Thanks. Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have your company and your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I have so much to ask, and I know that your time is limited, so please, I'd like to go into the questions.
Let's start.
What does Probaco mean, and where did the idea for this name for the restaurant come from?
Probaco is an old-fashioned word that you always use in a phrase to accentuate, to make a point of the positive meaning of what you just said, or as a surprise, a positive surprise. Also, you can split the word per Bacco, and is an ode to Bacchus, the god of wine and good times.
Bacchus. Well, there's lots of wine and lots of good times here.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your history and how you made it here to San Francisco?
After the army in Italy, at that time, when you get to 20 years old, you had to go to the army. And after that, I decided to work on board of a ship as a dining room captain. And one of the cruises took me here to San Francisco, actually. Also, I had met a young lady on board of a ship that she lived here in San Francisco. And I fell in love with the city. It was just beautiful. And I decided to come back, and here I'm still.
Tony Bennett style, huh? You left your heart in San Francisco and you came back for it.
Correct.
Well, the food here is very unique. It's very special. It's unlike what typical Italian cuisine is known in America. Can you tell me a little bit about Piemonte and its cuisine?
Sure. Well, when we opened Probaco, my partner and I, we wanted to offer the cuisine of Piemonte because it wasn't yet here in San Francisco. And everything starts from what we call a cucina povera, or the cuisine of the poor. What our peasant fathers and mothers were cooking for what they had left after they given the meat and so on to the lords. One of the most famous, I should say, dish that we can name in Piemonte is the white truffles. The humble origin of the tartufo, the truffle, our peasants were slicing it over eggs because they had nothing else, just to enhance the flavor of what every day they would eat. Well, the aristocrats, they got hold of it and they said, wow, it's so good. And now we're paying $4,000 a pound.
What began as a modest, humble beginning elevated to something very sophisticated.
Correct.
I think this is the essence of the food here.
Yes. A while ago, we were awarded as the most authentic Northern Italian restaurant in the country, as a matter of fact, in the West Coast.
Honor.
It's a very high honor because when you say authentic, what does it mean? You're true to the culture.
Absolutely.
And you follow the tradition, not necessarily the flavor to the point, but you had to preserve the culture of Piemonte.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. You mentioned opening with your partner. How long has that been?
We are, 17 years and 11 months.
Almost 18 years.
Yes.
That's just, in and of itself, it's an incredible feat. Not just in San Francisco, but in the restaurant business in general.
That's what they say, but we're still here.
Well, just on that note of longevity and being here, you really have to share your secret, because you, as I know, are a survivor, and you can inspire so many other survivors. Would you mind sharing your struggle with cancer and your overcoming it?
Yes, that was kind of almost a double whammy, I should say.
I imagine.
Right before the pandemic, right before we had to close, as a matter of fact, 10 days before we had to close, I started therapy for a cancer in my neck. It was pretty devastating to me, because I never thought that. You always think of cancer and you feel sorry for other people. You never thought that it was going to happen to you. I did it on my own with the help of my wife. We went through therapy. I went through 33 radiations. Almost 5 years later, now I'm here.
You're a real testimony to survival, and I'm just inspired by you. I need to know what you would tell the average individual who wanted to know what your food was about. How would you describe the food here at Perbacco?
Well, I think we touched a little bit earlier. This is not your regular Italian cuisine. If you're looking for chicken, you won't find it at dinner time. We have it at lunchtime eventually. I remember reading a review that what kind of Italian restaurant they don't even have chicken on the menu. I don't know. It's not something that belongs to our repertory. It is a cuisine that reflects the traditions and the flavors of Piemonte. All our pastas are homemade. They're made here in-house. The majority of the pastas are filled, and the sauces are very carefully curated, and again, to remind us of what we do back home, but with our touches, of course.
Well, Piemonte, as you've demonstrated, has elevated the simple food and made it more sophisticated. I can say the same about their wine and their noble grape, the Nebbiolo. Can you tell me a little bit about the special wines of Piemonte?
Well, Piemonte is famous for two wines, Barolo and Barbaresco, right? Barolo being also labeled as the king of wines and the wines for king, and Barbaresco is the younger brother or younger cousin, or however we want to say it. Both of these wines are made from the grape Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo in Italian, nebbia is fog, because the valleys where the grapes are grown, they're always engulfed in fog. And also the skin is slightly grayish, reminding us of the fog. Notoriously and historically, Barolo has always been a very sought after wine. Barbaresco is kind of climbing a little bit in popularity, and also because the price is a little bit less. So you may have, again, the younger brother at half of the price for that.
Well, your enthusiasm and your passion for wine and food speaks clearly through our interview. And I just would love to know also the passion you have for fine dressing. You're an absolutely immaculate dresser. Why is that, and how is that?
Oh, I always liked to dress well for myself, not for anybody else, I would say. Growing up, my family was not wealthy at all. We were actually very humble meaning. I remember joining the Boy Scout at the age of 10, I believe, and my parents did not have the money to buy me the uniform. So I had to wear a hand-me-down from my friends. At that time, I guess it wasn't that important to me, although it kind of stayed in my mind, and I said, well, when I make a little money, I'm going to start really wearing what I like.
Well, you absolutely accentuate class and respectability, and you are an ambassador of hospitality. Thank you for your time.
After speaking with Umberto, I made my way to the kitchen to meet with Perbacco's sous chef Andy to see where all the action and all the magic happens.
Please tell us your name.
My name is Andy, so I'm the sous chef of Perbacco. So welcome to my kitchen.
Thank you, Andy. How long have you been with Perbacco?
Perbacco 3 years ago.
¿Cómo aprendiste a cocinar?
Empecé como lavaplatos.
Okay.
Yeah,
He started as a dishwasher.
Empecé como lavaplatos en Cancún.
In Cancún, Mexico.
Ya, lavando a mano. Ya cuando me vine para aquí ya tenía yo la experiencia en preparación.
¿Y dónde? ¿En San Francisco?
Ya, en San Francisco.
Primero restaurante. ¿Dónde?
En el 25 Last.
Oh, okay, 25 plus.
Yeah.
It's famoso.
Yeah, famoso.
Okay. So he's got great experience. He comes from places like 25 plus. And now you're at Perbacco.
Yeah.
from setup to breakdown, what is your day like?
Mi día empieza venir, chequear todo que esté abierto, que esté todo limpio, y de ahí empiezo lo que es mi preparación. Mi preparación es como cortar pescado, cortar carnes, empezar desde cero todo.
So, preparando.
Ya, preparando.
Okay, so bulk of his work is done in preparation so that when he does get hit with those large volume orders, everything is in place so that he can execute the order with efficiency. ¿Cómo es during the rush? ¿Cómo es cuando es ocupado?
Cuando está ocupado es muy loco. Muy loco. Ya, muy loco. Ticket tras ticket.
Pero abajo control.
Ya, pero todo está bajo control. Ya.
Crazy but under control. It's very hard work, but it's a very good cause. A very good cause.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef Andy.
Thank you. Deen.
You have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Although this is featured as part of my documentary, I have a very sentimental relationship with the bar. Because not only is it the subject of my series, I also am dedicated to the craft of bartending. I've been here and I've shared my time and experience here over 8 years. And one thing you can get consistently is a variety of great products to consume. We have some of the best wine in San Francisco. We have some of the best handcrafted cocktails in San Francisco. High quality, very tasty, and all of them brought to you at a reasonable price. We are here for value, and we are here for hospitality, and we are here for guest satisfaction. I can tell you that the cornerstone of my trade and my craft is to ensure that every one of my guests tries to get better and better the more they stay. The longer they stay, I'd like you to feel better that you've made the decision to come visit with me. In a nutshell, I'm Deen the Cocktail Making Machine. Welcome to my bar at Perbaco. Hello and welcome back to On the Scene with Deen. I'm your host, Deen the Cocktail Making Machine. In our previous segment, we were in the financial district of San Francisco. In this segment, we're in the east side of San Jose at an unassuming place called the Drying Shed, or affectionately known as the Shed by the locals. Now, it may not look all that inviting, but as downplayed as it looks from the outside, as charming as it is on the inside. Come on, let's go find out why I love this place so much. Well, here we are on the inside of the Drying Shed, and as you can see, its unassuming and modest look on the outside deliver a very charming and decor-filled environment. It's been owned by the same family, the Ramseys, since 1982, and they are a proud Irish-American family. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the Irish influence here in San Jose, with a sizable community and other charitable organizations, as well as Dublin and San Jose being sister cities. Now, after these fun facts, let's go into the kitchen and meet one of the members of the Ramsey family. I call him Al the Gentleman Ramsey, and he's the brains behind the kitchen. Come on, everyone, let's go meet them. Al, welcome. Here we are. You're on the scene with Deen, and I'm here with Al the Gentleman Ramsey at San Jose's very own Drying Shed. And on the grill, we have filet mignon burger, we have a filet mignon, we have a beautiful ribeye steak, and a New York strip. Some of the prime offerings they have here at the Drying Shed, cooked by this gentleman, Al. Al, where do you fit into the family tree?
Second from the youngest.
Okay, second from the youngest, Mr. Al Ramsey. And how long have you been actively doing this, the mastermind behind the kitchen here?
Here, 42 years here.
42 years.
It's a long time.
So what is your favorite thing to cook, Al?
Steak Milanese and lobster tails.
Make Milanese and lobster tails.
Western Australian lobster tails.
Oh my God. So you source your lobsters from Australia.
Best.
And where do you get your beef from?
It's all Midwest beef.
Same purveyors for the last few years?
Forever.
Oh my God. These are lifelong relationships that produce lifelong consistency and quality. So 42 years, you've been lovingly preparing these meals for your guests.
Yes, sir.
Well, what can you get here? What kind of food do you offer here at the Drying Shed?
We have steaks, seafood, great burgers, some Italian food, lasagna, some pastas. I've been in the kitchen most of my life.
Really?
Started when I was 11 years old, washing clams in New York in a restaurant. I started off in dishwashing and watching the cooks. Was there for years. Then I went to another restaurant, Italian restaurant.
Same back of house.
Back of the house, yeah.
You still washing clams, or they let you do something else?
I was cooking and stretching pizzas and working on the line.
Were you ever formally trained as a cook?
Oh, yeah.
Or just through your experience?
Experience, yeah.
That's fantastic. When did you decide to move over to the West Coast? Your brother brought you out here.
Yeah, we came in I came in 1982.
82. And you guys been here ever since?
We opened up the restaurant. No looking back.
I love it. I absolutely love these stories, and I absolutely love the food that's prepared here. Al, thank you so much for your time and showing us where this delicious food comes from and the loving hands that produce it.
Anytime, Dean, you know that.
Let's go meet the rest of the Ramsey family.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you, guys.
Here on the Scene with Deen.
Welcome back, everyone. You're live on The Scene with Deen, and I'm your host, Deen, the cocktail making machine. Now that we've gotten a chance to take a look at the outside of the drying shed, and we got a chance to look at the inside of the drying shed, we got to take a look at the beautiful family that run this operation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to On the Scene with Deen. Please introduce yourselves, sir.
I'm Ed Ramsey from the drying shed. Ed from the shed.
You are, my dear?
And I'm Denise Ramsey Jones.
AKA Angel Face, everybody.
Angel Face, that's it.
And then, of course, we know the mastermind behind the kitchen, Al, the gentleman Ramsey.
Thank you.
All of you are key players in the faculty here in making this restaurant run as harmoniously as possible. I'd like to know what your specific roles are, if you wouldn't mind sharing them with me.
Right.
Eddie, what do you do?
I purvey the food, a lot of it, go pick out the meat, the right cuts, and all of our beef is cut in-house, all of our steaks, that and the produce, greens, such. I do a little bartending still, and, a little waiting on table here and there with the people I know.
So you're mostly keeping the fresh stock of inventory.
Right.
You're keeping quality control.
Yeah. Very little of our food is delivered. We go and get it.
I love that. I love that. And you assure consistency and high quality.
Correct.
Denise, what do you do here, my dear?
Well, what do I do, Eddie?
Not a whole lot.
You could tell they're brother and sister.
I'm the brains behind the scenes.
I see. Obviously.
No,
we have operations manager.
We pretty much do the same thing, all of us. And like he says, farm to fresh, table, our food, our produce is every day.
I love it.
And Al's, of course, the chef. And was a director of entertainment when we had a lot of entertainment here. We've had several well-known bands, DJs in the Bay Area.
Has that tapered off?
It's tapered off a little
like
bit
that?
since COVID. People aren't, it's not really back in full swing yet since COVID. But now Al's running a karaoke show on Thursday nights, which is really kicking
That
off.
sounds like a lot of fun.
That's really, that's kicking off.
So you did last night?
Yes, sir.
How was it?
Great.
Oh my God. How did you get the name, The Drying Shed?
They used to dry apricots and prunes on this site. Fruit. Prunes, cots, in fact, the ceiling is made of
Trays.
the trays they used to
The
dry them.
Oh my God. I was just telling my team how much the ceiling looked like really interesting
Yeah.
for its architecture.
Yeah, right.
So how come there aren't any windows?
That's a good question. It used to be a speakeasy at one time.
We got some history
Yeah.
here, ladies and gentlemen.
Like the distillery.
I see. And it's so mysterious from outside. You wonder what's
Right.
going on in there.
Right.
And I was just telling my audience that when we come in, everybody's so delighted and pleasantly surprised at the beautiful decoration
Thank you.
and the welcoming environment you provide.
Right.
Well, you got to tell me, 76, where'd you guys come from? Where'd you come from? Ed?
New York,
New York, upstate?
upstate, Binghamton. Yeah,
Okay. And then how'd you get in the restaurant business? Were you in the restaurant business in New
my
York?
father was. Yeah,
He was a restaurateur.
right.
So you could say the three of you grew up in the restaurant business.
Yes, sir, we did. Yeah.
Oh my God. So you took that love and that knowledge and that passion and you applied it to the West Coast.
Right, we came west to help civilize the West Coast.
Still a work in progress, I
It
tell
is,
you.
yeah, it is.
Well, did you just jump from New York to San Jose? How did that transition occur?
I had some friends out here, so I came out for a visit and never went back.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Those winters are pretty brutal.
right.
Well, you guys been here since 1976, and collectively, the three of you have operated it since when?
The three of us together since 1982.
How did that come about? You decided you need more of a team?
Right. Yeah. We just you know, it really started taking off business-wise. So we made it a family deal.
What's the best thing about working at the drying shed?
I think the best thing about it is that there's so many good people that come in here. It's a lot of fun. A tremendous amount of fun.
You guys interact with the community members. I see it. Like you guys have a personal relationship with all the guests that come in here.
A lot of the community has, you know, they've had children baptized here, married here.
You know, I was telling the
same
audience
kids.
earlier that you guys are very active in a lot of the Irish Catholic events and a lot of the general charities in San Jose.
Oh yeah.
And more than anything, I want to talk about Al's St. Patrick's Day spread. I know that that's one of the best one in the city, and two, I hear it's the award-winning recipe.
We have the best corned beef in America, and that's
what I hear.
That's not a lie. That's the truth.
Although we're spreading the word, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Ed the Boss Ramsey has declared the best corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day is here in San Jose's drying shed.
One day a year.
Yeah.
One day a year.
Need
Come make the
reservations
best
because
of
it always sells out.
Always. And don't get caught up with the Irish flu. Well, you guys, family work together, profit together, prosper together, and get on each other's nerves together, huh? What's it like working with your family? Such a close-knit family for so many years.
Well, you know, everyone has a cross to bear.
We don't think of you as a cross. We don't.
Yeah, they're a real bunch of comedians here. The Ramseys got the funny bones.
No, it's really very nice. It's really it's
can
good to have
trust
it's good to have people you can trust.
Yeah.
To be honest, you know what I mean. It really
I
in this day and age, and also it's very hard to find help in the restaurant industry.
You guys have a very unique story. It's very rare you find a family that work together, prosper together, and are harmonious together.
Right, I agree.
And it's just, it really touches me, and it's something that I'm very proud to share, and I'm very proud to patronize you. On behalf of the community in San Jose, on behalf of your fellow gentleman and ambassador of hospitality, it is my pleasure to share your story and to share the story of the drying shed here on the Scene with Deen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dean.
Hello, I'm your host, Deen Golden, aka Deen the Cocktail Making Machine. Thanks for coming with me on this journey to a couple of the hidden gems in my home, the Bay Area. And I hope you feel encouraged to check these special restaurants out for yourself and see what makes them so great. This has been On the Scene with Deen, and I hope you'll join me next time as I continue to shed light on some of the best places to eat for the best value. Tune in next time. Cheers.